Welcome in on a Monday, Ravens flock. It is July 15th. This is a Ravens Lunch Hour live stream. I'm Bobby Trossett, as always, joined alongside Sarah Ellison. We're going to have a jam-packed show with different guests and perspectives because we are celebrating the life of a true Ravens great. That is a Super Bowl champion, a former wide receiver and return specialist, and just really more so than anything else, an awesome, authentic human being. Jacoby Jones passed away over the weekend at the age of 40, Sarah, in his sleep. And I think just all of Baltimore, you can feel the sentiments, you can feel the outpouring of support and nostalgia and just an appreciation for the life that he lived and what he gave to football fans, because he wasn't just in Baltimore as well. He was a Super Bowl champion and he retired a Raven, but he had several other stops, and you could just tell that the NFL world really felt this in a number of ways yesterday.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked by it myself. Got quite an echo. Do you hear an echo?
No.
Okay, I've got a bad figure out here in a second. Yeah, no, I wasn't. Obviously, I don't think anybody was really expecting it. I got a phone call. I was in the middle of church, and you never called me on a Sunday morning, so I text back, and you had kind of broke the news to me, and uh, certainly heartbreaking and shocking. We know that he was 40 years old, and I think he had just accepted a job to be the head coach of an arena football team. So I know he was planning on doing that. Um, Still no word exactly on how Jacoby passed away, but I do want to read this statement from the NFLPA because it had um, at least some sort of insight into it. This was from their family. The NFLPA put out a statement on behalf of his family, which said, "The family, we want to express our gratitude for all the kind thoughts and support you have shown us during this challenging time. Your ongoing support and respecting our privacy means a lot to us. We are deeply saddened to share that Jacoby Jones, a beloved former Ravens football player from New Orleans and a proud graduate of a historically black college, has passed away at the age of 40." In a statement, the Jones family confirmed that Jacoby Jones passed away peacefully at his home in New Orleans, Louisiana. The family, including his mother, Emily, and his son, little Jacoby, are together and are asking for your prayers, privacy, and support as they navigate this difficult time. So there they say that he passed peacefully at his home.
Hey, and as the live chat is kind of tipping us off here, maybe you want to come in and come out. Your audio is a little bit choppy.
Okay.
So we'll do that. And while you do that, since he's in a waiting room right now and he's got a little bit of a time crunch, former Super Bowl winning Ravens wide receiver Qadry Ismail joins us. And Q, this is a somber day, obviously, for Ravens Nation on a number of levels. But I think, one, your memories of Jacoby, and two, I guess your first reaction when the news itself came out.
So the first reaction was just one of disbelief because I had a couple of notifications that were on. We have a group me chat, pretty much has all the Ravens legends on it from 96 pretty much up to current day, maybe not on the latest roster, but long story short of it, I was blown away. I was like, wait, what? Jacoby Jones passed away. Like, I just saw him at our Ravens mini camp. How is this possible? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, with that said, my memories just started flooding in of when I had a chance to really interact and hang out. Obviously, you and I both worked at the same radio station with the Ravens and their partnership with WBAL, and I was part of that, Ravens broadcast and all that. So, I'm interviewing pretty much the entire team, top to bottom, all the coaches, everybody. And the one thing about Jacoby is that he just was, when I say authentic, what I mean is that, there's some guys who different parts of the country have different personalities, and but they kind of act either standoffish or, they'll act one way in public, behind closed doors they'll act a different way. But, Jacoby, for a down south Louisiana guy. He was him. He was just, you gonna get what you're gonna get, and he was just one of those guys where as you quickly learn the Super Bowl team, Jacoby was just mad cool. And then I got a chance to really interact with him when we had a Ravens fan cruise, and it was Jacoby, Justin Tucker, and I think one other active player, Anquan Bolden at the time. And so all of us were on this Ravens fan cruise, and my son and daughter went along with me. So Qadry, Jacoby, and I, we're doing workouts, and I'm taking them through some workouts. But you know what? You would have never known Jacoby was Jacoby Jones, because the way he interacted and treated my son with just, the utmost, just cool, chill, and Qadry couldn't stop talking about it. I mean, he was like, "Hey, Dad, we're gonna go work out. Jacoby's gonna be working out with us." And so, I was just, I don't know, it was really cool. It was such a really bonding, connecting with him, and then he just thought it was cool. He's like, "Dad, Jacoby followed me on Instagram." Yeah, so we're boys. And in June when we saw each other, Qadry went right on up to him. He said, "Hey, Jacoby, man, what's up, man?" And boom, dapped it up the whole 9 yards. And I took a picture with them. You just don't find genuine guys like that often in this line of professional sports. You so many times have to wear so many different hats, and you put on such a facade, but that wasn't Jacoby. He was him. And to say I'm going to miss him doesn't even do it justice. I can't imagine what his son and loved ones are thinking. Just so many times I've interacted with him, over the years, and man, we just a mad cool dude. We did this one promotion for the Ravens with McCormick, the spice company, and I mean, we were just kicking it the entire time, and I mean, it was just gut laughing, and him and guys like Tony Saragusa, you appreciate them, you love them, and you just love the memories and the way they made you feel, and yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, it's well said, Q. And the team itself put out a statement last night. I want to just make sure we read that. We are completely heartbroken to learn about the passing of Jacoby Jones. Jacoby had the unique ability to connect with everyone he encountered. His charisma, joy, and love created a one-of-a-kind presence that could light up any room or brighten any dark day. Jacoby will long be remembered not just for his success on the football field, but for the lasting personal connections he made with countless people in the Ravens organization, Baltimore community, and every area he called home. We share our deepest condolences with Jacoby's family as we all begin to process this devastating loss. Sarah, can you cue up the Mile High Miracle? Because a man that's in this live right now was on the call, had a pretty decent perspective, a bird's eye view of what was and maybe is the greatest play in the history of the organization.
My audio's okay now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, so Q may have been on this call with one Jerry Sandusky.
Advances to the AFC Championship. The loser goes home. From the gun, Denver rushes 3. Flacco steps up, throws deep. Far sideline, Jacoby Jones has it at the 20. Jacoby Jones, touchdown, Raven. No flags on the play, and the miracle is answered.
Q sounded like the Joker back there. Take us back into that, Q. What were you like thinking in that moment?
It was so interesting because Jacoby, just the entire team. I mean, they were battling the entire day, and you're battling the elements, you're battling the cold weather, you're battling like special teams play. That game was just out of this world, and I'm like, wow, the Ravens are up against it. Well, here it comes. It's coming down to the final few moments. All game long, I am battling the fans of Denver. And I'm like, I'm doing my job. Like, it's an open air booth. And like, I'm just calling it pro Ravens. So keep looking out at the field and don't be looking up at us after every single thing that happens positively for y'all team. And so the fans are just like giving it to me the entire game. And like the competitiveness in me is coming out.
Yep.
Like it's just boiling. And I'm like, mother effer, if we lose this game, we ain't losing this game. We ain't losing this game. We ain't losing this game. So all of a sudden I see Joe. And at first I'm like, oh, he's just going to check it down to Ray Rice. And like, I'm like, okay, he's going to just check it down. Oh no. He stepped up in the pocket and slung it. And like at first I was like, oh no, it's cover two. Like the safety is going to be, no, he didn't. He was caught flat-footed. Oh, oh my God. And so now I'm like, like I'm looking at the fans. I'm like, like I'm literally outside the booth. And I'm like, yeah. And so I literally lost my mind because there's like a back and forth ping ponging that goes on with, the play-by-play and the color analyst. And, he was just like, Jerry, just let me be and let's let it out. And it was so genuine. And I was like, wow. So the funny thing about it, when we had the celebration downtown, and it was at the one theater downtown. We had, the entire team backstage. They had Jacoby was just coming off Dancing with the Stars, some practices and all that. And, at that time, like larger than life awesomeness. Jacoby and I looked at each other. He goes, man, if I hear one more person tell me about what you was doing and yelling. I mean, we just laughed, and like I recounted the story, but like, I mean, that dude was so clutch. It was amazing. He was awesome.
What's funny, Q, and you can speak to this as a wide receiver. People don't remember this, but Jacoby Jones, the reason why he came to Baltimore is because he had muffled some punts and kickoffs. I can't remember if maybe he had dropped some passes. What is it like as a wide receiver when you're open? Okay, you're open. You have that pass. That's like Houston fans wanted to run him out of there, right? And so the whole stadium is holding its breath, and you're open, and the ball's coming to you, and your team is on your shoulders. The postseason's on your shoulders. How do you as a wide receiver, because time slows down, do you just stay focused? Like, it looks like an easy catch, but as a wide receiver, is that like the worst moment ever, waiting for the ball to get there?
One of the things for Jacoby, because when he was with the Texans, we went down there, and it was Matt Schaub and obviously Joe Flacco battling back and forth head to head. And it, we just had some, great games against the Texans. And Jacoby was always a thorn in the side because like Jacoby's flat out just top end speed would rival, Patrick Johnson, myself, Torrey Smith. It didn't matter. Whatever speedster you could think of that put on a Ravens uniform, Jacoby was right up there, if not number one. And Nelly, his metrics, he runs 22 miles an hour on a regular as well. Nelson Aguilar, current Raven, Nelly, all of us, we could all flat out. But Jacoby had like top end. So there's fifth gear speedsters have, and then there's fifth plus. Jacoby had fifth plus when you were around that 40, 50, 60 meter mark. And so, yes, he would have lapses in concentration when he was at the Texans. But I think for them, they wanted him to be kind of like the number 2 receiver. Whereas here at B-More, you already knew. I got Dennis Pitta. I got Anquan Bolden. I got a now seasoned Torrey Smith. So Jacoby, just be you and don't muck it up. So I'm telling you, that Denver catch, like, I can't tell you how bitter cold it was that day. Like bitter, like biting your hands off cold. And yes, his concentration, because I'm telling you, like, you just cover 2 is like frustrating when it comes to deep ball. And this beautiful picture right here, like all of it says that I am concentrating. I got this. Number 26, his hand going up, that's a distraction. It don't matter. And wow, Jacoby, man, love you, brother. Love you. Just love everything about you, brother. Everything. What he did in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We haven't even gotten to that yet. And along the lines of speed, Q, Brett Hollander, longtime Baltimore broadcaster, he and I were texting prior to the stream, and he said that Jacoby once told him that, quote, he has next man speed. That's better than a 40 time, he tells Brett, right? That's better than a 40. He goes, quote, see the guy next to you and run past him. And it sounds simple, a little cliche, but boy, did he exemplify that in every sense of the word.
It's crazy because when you say next man speed, like, it's supposed to be simple because that's what you do. All speedsters know there's always that one guy that's even faster. And like the ultimate speedster lived in my house for half of my life was my brother. And I remember, just sitting there watching Jacoby, and I'm like, yeah, he got that next man speed. Yeah, he just does. He had that, that gear, like the Dallas game kickoff return. There's hitting a hole, but then to bounce it out, but then to run by guys like they're standing still is what Jacoby did. Just running. And I mean, just beautiful, fluid, amazing movement was his capabilities, and he maximized. He was so funny. He's like, man, I don't stretch. I don't know. I don't stretch. I just go out there. I just run. And like, man, you just knew he was a special, talented individual who could flat out fly.
What's funny is a lot of times wide receivers will get the diva label, Q, and that can be true. But I think 2 people that buck that diva label is you being one and Jacoby being the other. Like, Jacoby was like a guy that when he walks into his room, he's going to say hello to everybody. He's not too good for anybody. He's going to say hello to everybody. He's going to joke with everybody. And he just makes you feel comfortable the moment you walk into a room.
It's interesting. And I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you. I think we're divas on the field.
Concur,
but
by the way, I concur, just so you know.
Appreciate you, Bobby.
Your play demands the ball. You don't need to speak for it. Your play demands it. But go ahead.
I think what the diva mindset on the field comes from, you don't get that many opportunities. And when I say you run, like, you are running like so much in practice. You are running so much in the game. You're running miles.
Yeah.
They got the Catapult is the company that uses the metrics to show how far you run and all that. And you're just running. Well, with that said, when you get the ball, like, if you get a hot hand, you might get targeted 10 times. Ooh, man, you doing like just all that for like a couple of catches here and there, a couple of crumbs, we used to call them. So that being said, you kind of get this like, man, give me the ball.
Yeah.
But you got to learn how to turn it off too. And I think Jacoby just had this just awesome way of like again, it got me all choked up thinking about my son because man, he just made my son feel 10 feet tall and encouraged him the whole 9 yards. Like they were just chilling. You would have thought Qadry had a new best friend in Jacoby Jones. He probably did, just be Jacoby being Jacoby. But every single time after that he saw him, he would ask about him, he would talk to him, he would interact. So that's what, I think, Jacoby, when we had our reunion, Jacoby was like sitting there like he was like the mayor, just going up to all the fellas. Like I'm a little, an extrovert, introvert myself. So it takes me a second to kind of open up. Man, Jacoby's like, just talking to everybody, just going up to everybody. And that's Jacoby Jones.
The best, Q. We appreciate your perspective. I know you got a busy day. You're going to be remembering him and paying tribute to not a teammate, but a Ravens teammate, right? In terms of the organizational bond that all you former Ravens certainly share with one another. We got Ray Rice coming up in just a couple minutes here. So we're going to let you hop, but you're the best. And we're thinking of you and the Ravens family today.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Love you guys. Both of you guys do an awesome job as always. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Q. Well, we'll do it again soon, especially during camp. Former Super Bowl champion winning Ravens wide receiver, something he shared in common with Jacoby.
Yeah,
right?
What's cool for Q is that obviously he played in the first Super Bowl, and then the second of the only two that the Ravens have in such a short franchise history. The second one he got to call it.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get to. We haven't even gotten to the Super Bowl highlights yet.
No.
We're working our way there, but that's got to be special for him. And I really loved his insight on how much Jacoby made his son. I'm assuming he's talking about Qadry, who's now trying out for the Ravens as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And the way Jacoby just made him feel like $1 million, 10 feet tall in his words. So, and that is Jacoby. He makes everybody feel like they're just as important as him, who's a Super Bowl winner. Anybody who's in the room with him feels that way.
And what we also haven't gotten to is we were privileged. Obviously, we didn't know it at the time, but we certainly feel privileged and very grateful to have conducted one of the final interviews with Jacoby. We had him on during draft weekend, and it ended up becoming that 4 split screen spontaneous conversation, right? Because Marlon, I overbooked it, and Jacoby was a little late, and ended up becoming a conversation between the two of us and Marlon and Jacoby. How lucky were we? And
that was the best part of the night. And it was funny because he tried to get on from his car, wasn't working, so he gets home and gets on from there. So he never gave up on us. You know what I mean? Like he was trying to follow through with his commitment for sure.
Yeah. And I went back and listened to it yesterday on my way back I spent some time in the Adirondacks this weekend on Saturday at the lake, and I just was struck by how he looks back at his relationship with Joe Flacco. And it was your question about him going to Cleveland and the way that Jacoby, as his former Super Bowl winning teammate, felt about that move. Here's that answer.
I like to see Joe do good because he's a hell of a quarterback to me. That's my quarterback, man. Like that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to play with Lamar, but Joe, my quarterback, bro. And I wanted him to see do good, but if he'd had to face the Ravens, it'd have been a different story. But I just wanted to see him do good.
Oh man, in the moment, it seems as if, well, of course that's what he's going to say. And now that he's gone, there's something that hits different. That he just wants to see him do good. You feel the emotion.
Yeah.
You can just, I'm feeling it right now because that's all he wanted. That's all he wanted from Joe. And he certainly did do good in Cleveland.
Yeah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. That's actually like when you were calling me when I was in church yesterday to tell me the news, like the very first thing I thought of was our last conversation with them over draft night. And it's interesting because Jacoby, even like moments like today, right? Where we're all heartbroken over the news because it's just too soon, right? It's just too soon. And there was so much, I mean, he leaves his mom and his son and this football program where he was going to go coach in arena football, and he could have coached in other places. And so, and at the same time, though, I would think that Jacoby himself would find a way to lighten the mood, right? He would find a way to still put a smile on everybody's faces. And so when we were flashing up while Q was on, by the way, thank you, Q. He left a super chat. He says, Jacoby Jones, love and miss you, my friend. Memory of you and the stories will never fade away. So thank you for that, Q. And again, thank you for coming on. But when we were flashing through while Qadry was talking, we had Torrey Smith's Twitter post, right?
Yeah.
And he has one photo in there, and I was there for this. We went down to the White House. And we were there, and we meet Barack Obama, and we're taking photos with the Lombardi and all of that. And of course, Jacoby at the White House makes a funny face, right? Like there it is right there. And he's just, it didn't matter if we were in the White House. It didn't matter if like the game was on the line in Denver where it was frigid and everybody's relying on him. Like it didn't matter what the situation was. Jacoby always found a way to lighten the mood and make people laugh.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought Q did a good job of just explaining how the entire organization feels this today, yesterday, moving forward. Everybody copes differently, and we want to be super sensitive to that. And that's why Torrey made it very clear on Twitter.
Yeah.
That the folks that were reaching out to him within the media, he just kind of politely asked that he needs a little bit of time to process this, help Jacoby's family out, help his own son process this. But like we all know, everybody copes differently, and we are privileged to have one of Jacoby's former teammates with us in the waiting room, a Super Bowl champion winning running back and somebody that had a fantastic relationship with him. And we can't wait to get his perspective, making his debut on the Vault as well. We've been wanting to do this for a while. It is Ray Rice joining us right now. And Ray, sorry it's under these circumstances, but how are you doing first and foremost?
Oh, to be honest with you, I'm hanging in there. Like, this is obviously something, I was almost like Torrey, but at the same time, I feel like somebody who been in the locker room with him, somebody who been we won a lot of games together, but at the same time, our kids are the same age. There are things that we talked about, and not that everybody doesn't know who Jacoby is, but I think that, you know, sometimes it's good to just let people know who he was. And what he was for me as a friend, as a teammate and a brother, but not, this one's tough because it just feels like a bad dream, but, it's tough. It's just a lot of things, a lot of plethora of emotions. I'm sure everybody's feeling them, but, one thing I just want to say about him is that, you know, um, there's some people out there that don't understand the definition of living and existing. And sometimes, if you take a step back, some people are just waking up in cycles of just existing. And Jacoby embodied on what it was to live. When you got around him, if you didn't think energy was contagious, you felt what he was able to bring to a room. And that's what you call a vibrant energy. He was alive. And I think that, just however we take that, that's how I want him to be remembered. Because he was somebody that if your light was dim, he can turn it on for you. And when my light was dim, he was one of the guys that called me because it wasn't always good, and I'm just thankful for people like that that's able to, pour a little something into you to give you a little bit of, extra boost you need to keep going.
Hey Ray, I've often used the term hunger for life on this podcast. Is that kind of what you're getting at with Jacoby when you say he knew how to live? Like, did he just have a hunger for life?
Sorry, I'm just going inside because of I hear the landscapers.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry.
Get wherever you're most comfortable.
Yeah, I just heard Oh, sorry, just repeating. I heard the landscapers and I couldn't tune them
Yeah,
out.
no, I was saying that you were talking about that some people know how to live. On this podcast, I often use the phrase hunger for life. Like there's just some people that you meet and it's like, dang, they have a hunger for life. They want to be everywhere. They want to meet everyone. They just want to enjoy life. Is that kind of what you're getting at with Jacoby, that maybe he had a hunger for life?
Yeah, I think that's probably him in a nutshell, man. I think that um, I'll take the hunger for life and say he had a hunger for people. You know,
Mm,
he had a hunger to. You know, I've never seen Jacoby. I've never not seen him make someone smile. Like I just like even if you wanted to be upset at him, he figured out a way to make you smile. You couldn't. I don't. There wasn't a way to be mad at Jacoby Jones. Like, and I think that like I'm laughing because you are a true one of one when you can be that kind of person. Like he just you could not be mad at him. And I could go on a football term, right? And I look at like, okay, we're playing against the Texans in the playoffs, and I'm like, you know, no, against the Broncos,
hmm
and something happened, right? Whatever it was, couldn't be mad at him because when it came time to make the play at the end of the game, the Mile High Miracle is, we're not who we are as a football team, as a Super Bowl champion, without someone that's like that because he's able to take something that's supposed to be bad and he turns it around for the positive. He does not live for what happened yesterday. He's
mm,
actually living for the moment that he's presently in. And I think that that's just a special gift you have to have. Like there's a lot of people who just all this stuff with mental health crisis is going on. Like there are not a lot of people that's able to shake some of that stuff in the past. And I just think Jacoby was somebody who he lived it, man. And this one hurts because he's a brother and he's a father and he was a mentor to many. And I just want his name to be remembered in a way where anytime you met Jacoby and you wasn't smiling, he probably put a smile on your face. So if we can remember him in that light, his light will always be, his light will never go dim in Baltimore.
mm,
There's a reason why he signed that 1-day contract, right? And I was kind of thinking back to it, um, looking at his previous stops in the NFL outside of Baltimore, and I
Hmm.
was struck by, of course, when you win a Super Bowl championship, it probably ends up being priority number one in your mind. But for Jacoby, what do you think about Baltimore? What was it about Baltimore that made that a two-way street in terms of just mutual love?
I think this is it, it's Charm City. I mean, you take it for what it is, right? The name says it all. I think that Jacoby and Charm City were like they were meant to be. It was a great marriage, right? Because I think that what Baltimore City is and what we call ourselves Charm City, um, it's a city that has its ups and downs, right? It's a city that you know you can go focus on the narrative on all the negative that's going on, or you can go look at the city and understand and find some of the youth that we've been working with that are diamonds in the rough, that are great kids. So that's what Jacoby was. That's why when you think about him coaching at Morgan State, when you think about him being here as long as he was after his playing days, Baltimore is and became his home. So it was a perfect fit for him because I think I mean, I would say it for most guys, but I feel like personally for Jacoby, he fit here because I think that his lasting impact on what he's able to do in the community and how many people he's able to help, this was the place for it. This was the place that's needed. You know, we didn't have to be politicians and be in office to make a difference. And I think that that's the difference with Baltimore City, compared to a lot of cities. I'm from New York. I'm back here because I feel like the difference I can make in people's lives are here. Not that I can't affect home, but out here I made a bigger difference. And that's just what Charm City is, man. It's a city that you could either choose to look at it one way where you could look at it and see the bad, or you could look at it and see the diamonds in the rough, understanding that life is a process. And, as long as we got foot soldiers out there helping to do the job, we could try to save as many people as we can.
Hey, Ray, you mentioned how Jacoby reached out to you when you kind of were low, maybe a rock bottom kind of moment. With as much as you're comfortable sharing, can you explain what he did for you in those moments?
It's sort of like a hidden language, right? And I think that it's something as simple as, bro, I got your back. I'm here for you. If you need anything, reach out. My wife was just going through a camera reel, and what's funny is it was during COVID, or during the time, whatever it was, but I got a birthday shout out from him, basically him saying, like, I know what it is already. And, but just me knowing, and during that time, like I said, you kind of remember who reached out, who didn't, who left, who gone, who, you know, he was never one of those guys. Like, so when you're talking about something that's bigger than us, yeah, like that, it didn't need to be long, drawn out conversations. At the end of the day, his love and loyalty has been put to the test already. So for us to have a long, drawn out conversation, uh, that wasn't us. But if you take the huddle talk, if I look to the left, look to the right, and I want to strike if I needed a vote of confidence on if I'm good enough or I'm secure enough, man, he's the one that used to just call me diddle diddle before I did Ray Rice up the middle. He used to be the one to just he nicknamed me diddle diddle.
I did not know that.
Really?
Like if people want to put that out there fair, before I had the 4th and 29 play, Jacoby used to be like, man, do what you do, diddle diddle. Like that was his thing. He the one who nicknamed me diddle diddle. So if I
Because
needed
when you answered that question, when they asked it, and you're like, "Hey, diddle diddle, Ray Rice up the middle," it seemed to come quick, and so it was already implanted in your mind.
looking back, I'm gonna do my I'm gonna do my best Jacoby Jones impression. All right,
Okay, let's see it.
this was it. Hey, diddle diddle. That was him. He'd be like,
Yeah.
he say he do his little choppy legs running around. I see you over there, like. But he's the one that literally started the diddle diddle. He started it. It was a practice. I don't know, like he just been the guy. Like it stuck. Now, when I got asked the question, it just came out.
Yeah.
So there was no play call for that. But Jacoby Jones is part of. He's the reason why I think I started to. When I said it, I got to give him his flowers on that. So he got that. He named me Diddle Diddle.
I definitely learned something on that one. But Ray, just a few months ago, Sarah and I were doing our NFL draft coverage, and we were lucky enough to have Jacoby and Marlon on at the same time. That's just how it ended up happening. Jacoby was a little bit late, so I overbooked it, and then next thing you know, it's like a four-way conversation. We're all trying to like fight for the same microphone. And something you said earlier kind of reminded me of his answer about Joe, Joe Flacco, and that was, when you guys chatted, it wasn't anything like elaborate, right? It was like quick type of calls, right? Checking in on each other, not a ton, right? Is that kind of what you were getting at?
Yeah, like like I said, I think our team was so close. Like it was more like we took on the personalities of our leaders, and naturally, Jacoby came in one of them leaders. So when you look at the team, right, on our Super Bowl team, look how it was built, right, offensively, defensively. I mean, Jacoby Jones and Torrey Smith hit it off, but then we had the seriousness of Anquan Bolden, his approach, right. So you was able to have some people who like could make the room smile. You had the guy that was trying to learn in Tory, but then you had Anquan and say, this is how it's done. So you're talking about the bond that we had. Like I said, some people were vocal leaders and some people were you just like follow what they did because, and even Joe Flacco understood, but that me to you chemistry that you have with certain guys, those are repetitions on the field. And I feel like when you get enough repetition at anything, right, it becomes muscle memory. So that's why I feel like we didn't have to do elaborate conversations and things like that because of our repetitions on how much winning we did together. We already built that foundation. So, like, we didn't need the small talk. We just wanted real talk. So it wasn't going to be, you know, um, how many fingers you going to hold up tonight or something like that. We just kept it really it was just straight to the point. But more importantly, if you to know Jacoby was to love him, but if he loved you, you knew it, you felt it.
Yeah.
Like you knew it and felt it. Like he didn't it's something simple. Yes, words of affirmation is real, but if he loved you, you felt it. You didn't even need to hear it.
And Sarah, that's where I was going with like what I'm about to play with the Joe clip because while it seems like a super simple answer and what Ray's getting at is appreciated in the sense that okay, it doesn't lack to someone from the outside looking in who may measure like the sincerity of a relationship with like the amount of time you talk on the phone or like the amount of times you talk per month and or whatever. Like it may not have been all the time, but it never lacked sincerity. And I felt like this answer on Joe going to Cleveland when Sarah asked Jacoby back in April what he made of that entire situation backs everything I just set up and ultimately gets at what you're discussing too with your past relationship. Listen to this.
I like to see Joe do good because he's a hell of a quarterback to me. That's my quarterback, man. That's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to play with Lamar. But Joe, my quarterback, bro. And I wanted him to see do good. But if he'd had to face the Ravens, it'd have been a different story. But I just wanted to see him do good.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. It's what Ray's saying. He has your back. It doesn't need to be a long-winded words. He has your back.
The simple words of "that's my quarterback" says everything. That's enough right there. That's what. Ah man, just hearing him speak like that is just it just draws you. You can't even control it at times. It's just so because he didn't have to say much. He's just a genuine guy, man. Like everything he did, whether it was making you laugh or making you smile or pissing you off, at least he did it in the most genuine nature, right? But there weren't many times, like I said, there weren't many times. I don't ever remember Jacoby making. I never got mad with but I don't think there was a time I've never seen it. Personally, I've never seen it. I just know I know he probably seen me upset, and I know he's probably the one that told me, "Yo, get it together. We need you."
Mm.
So, man, this one stings. Like I said, man, I hate to compare situations, but it's it feel like I mean I feel like I lost a soldier that I was at war with, man. I guess that when they talk about all this, like things that are similar, and I would never compare the two, because I understand, but losing someone that you stood by you and you did a lot of winning together and you prepared together and you did blood, sweat, and tears is not the same as what our services do. Not comparing the two, but it feels like I lost you know, a fallen soldier, and the commitment of a soldier is loyalty,
Mm.
and he's loyal to the core. And I think that if that's what it feels like to serve your country, then this is just as close, right? For me, my personal feeling, it feels like I lost a fallen soldier that said, loyalty over everything. This is what I am. This is what I believe, and he stood on it. What he believed, and when he laced it on, when he put it on, you knew what you was gonna get. At the end of the day, you knew what you was gonna get, and I think that if anybody was, he was not unsure of who he was. That vote of confidence, if I could take his confidence and instill that in, all the children that I work with out there, man, listen, we're talking about future presidents, future doctors, lawyers, because he believed in who he was.
What does that mean? He believed in who he was. Who do you think? What does that mean? Like who do you think he thought he was?
If you ask Jacoby, like he was so confident who he was. If you ask him who was the fastest person in the NFL, he'll say himself.
Mm,
Like he would never doubt himself.
mm.
If you ask him who had the best hands in the NFL, he would say himself. Like, and what I mean by believing who he loved himself so that he could help others. Like if you're not loving on yourself, then how could you help others? I mean, you're spending energy somewhere else. But if you ask Jacoby any questions about who's the fastest guy in the NFL, you could ask him. If we were to ask him today who was the fastest guy in the NFL, right now he would say Jacoby Jones.
At 40. At 40.
At 40,
Put me back in the game, coach.
at 40, Jacoby Jones would tell you he's still the fastest guy in the NFL. So but my point is this: when that's what I'm talking about, as funny as that he would never not believe in who he is. He knows who he is, and I think that he's never given up on that, man. Like I tell you right now, they say, man, can you go for another carry? I say, I could, but it'd be about 5, and that's it. But
No more
but
hey diddle diddles up the middle.
hey, diddle diddle, go for 5, go on the sideline.
Cold tub hits different the next day for you too, right?
Yeah.
Cold tub of what? My kids got a better chance. Not saying I ain't as, but the kids got a better.
Yeah.
But if you ask him, my point is that Jacoby would tell you who he is, right? But he would believe in who he is,
Yeah.
and I think that one thing that I think that I left out. My point is, if you look at what he did on Dancing with the Stars, that says something totally different than football, but it says that he believed in who he was. Like you went in a whole different arena, and he told me about that experience. How the like you got to take it serious. Like he believed, but the performance he put on was amazing. Because once he said he gonna do it, he gonna stand on it. If Jacoby wanted to be, if he wanted to go to track and field route, that's what he did. He would be he would train to be the best. Like he's not gonna try to. He doesn't believe in falling short of anything.
Mm.
Like if he wanted to be a bodybuilder, he's going for number one. He's not coming. He's throw the second place trophy away kind of guy. And that's just who he was, man. I think, and just having that kind of teammate, man. Just trust me. I know I seem confident at times, but sometimes you got to look at someone else who's confident to understand what confidence really is.
Oof. Well, I like that. Hey, Ray, last question for me at least.
Look at him on screen
Yeah, I
while
know.
you're
Look
at
at
it.
him here dancing. I mean, he was always dancing whenever I saw him.
That's right.
He didn't have to be on a show to dance. He was always dancing. Hey, Ray, we've talked a lot about what Jacoby means to us and the impact he left on us. One question for you. What do you think it meant to him to win a Super Bowl ring in New Orleans?
Oh man, you know what? To win a Super Bowl at home, right?
Yeah.
I think that it goes twofold for me. I think like first and foremost is like the most remarkable thing. I think it's the most remarkable thing that can happen. And when you think about home, right, and there's a time where you're born, right? That with that year that you're born, and that dash in the middle is your legacy.
Mm.
And he got called home at home. And that to me is just like, the Lord and Savior in me is saying, listen, we don't know the time of day, right? But that dash in the middle of whenever he was born, right? The year he was born, what he was able to do in that time, in that middle, I know people wish they could be able to like conquer as much as he did in such a short time. Like I just, at least he taught me a lot, man. But he's really just the piece of me that wants to touch him and hold him, like that's still here. But like I could at least say he left something, right? And he left something that's gonna remain in our hearts forever. He won a Super Bowl at home, and God called him home at home peacefully. Like I said, and I know the faith in me says God don't make mistakes. So as hard as it is, like what I'm holding on to is just something in the physical, because I know eternally I'll see him again.
Yes, you will.
Extremely powerful words, Ray. And under the circumstances, obviously we really appreciate you taking some time to carve it out, and we hope you take care of yourself in the days that follow, because I'm sure it's going to be challenging.
Yeah, but that's why we back here. I think the boys are gonna come together for this really strong, and all we gotta do is lean on each other, man. All we gotta do is lean on each other, and hard is something that we've understood, but leaning on each other is something I know that we all could get better at, right? Because sometimes just a simple text or phone call goes a long way, right? So I think that this is something that we just need to lean in on each other, lean in on his mother, lean in on his son, and show them that this thing is real. We are family, and grieving is something that, however you grieving is okay, but we are here for you.
I think I speak for our audience and all of Baltimore. The fact that you're choosing to grieve and mourn in this type of setting, and allow your words to, to have the power that's behind them is extremely appreciated. So
And
uh,
I appreciate it.
we'll,
Well, I
we'll
just
be
want, like I said, I just want the best for everybody, man. And I think just giving a little bit of who he is and what he meant to me and everyone, I think, I owe that to Baltimore, and I think it's something he would have wanted me to do.
yeah. Thank you, Ray.
All
Absolutely.
right.
Thank you so much, Ray.
I know, I
Appreciate
appreciate
you.
it.
Best wishes. We'll talk to you.
God bless.
We'll check in on you. Yep.
All right, yeah.
All right. Ray Rice, ladies and gentlemen. Whew. That was
Ooh.
give him a ton of credit. A ton of credit for being willing to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because everybody, as he said, grieves in different ways. And for those that want to be private, that's respected. And for those that want to come out and honor and celebrate his legacy, he felt like he had explained that twice. I don't feel like that needs to be explained. I hope everybody just respects the way everybody wants to go about it. You know what I mean? I would be the same way. I think we've all lost people close to us, and that's how I am. I like to talk through it. I like to speak through it. So I appreciate that he did that. And I think there are a lot of Jacoby admirers and fans that also want to be able to just feel like they're supporting him and touch him and celebrate him and honor him. And so man, and the way Ray did that, it was just so, had to fight back the tears there, Bobby. He got me. He got me good.
From the top, straight from the top. His first answer, Sarah, was incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
That's something that we will go back and revisit, just in case you're just tuning in now. Ray Rice, Jacoby's former teammate, was absolutely exceptional. From the heart, raw emotion right there. And it seems as if the live chat is it's on the same page with us. Truly appreciative of what we just listened to, because that was powerful. Thank you to Ray Rice for dropping by. And hour 2 begins with my former co-host and game day broadcaster at WBAL, a Baltimore sports historian, somebody who's joining us from the BWI airport right now on his way down to Sarasota. He's having some connectivity issues, so we'll give him a second to kind of get up and running. It's Keith Mills. For those of you who are in the Baltimore area, you've probably followed Keith's career throughout the year. Sarah, I know that you've spent some time with him at One Winning Drive, and now on his way down to Florida. Let's see if we can get him.
Picking up, I'm going to have to move to a different part of the airport. The Wi-Fi here is not working.
No worries.
I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I can't hear you.
Okay. All right. I will text you. Yeah, he's trying his best. Let me just shoot him a message.
Go for it.
He had a tremendous relationship with Jacoby, and he really wanted to hop on here.
Yeah.
So why don't I do this? Can I call him real quick?
Yeah, give him a ring. I'm gonna highlight some comments and some questions and try to answer those, and you do your thing.
Thank you. I'm gonna mute myself. I'm just gonna give him a quick call.
Yep.
Scott Garceau also just got back to us. He might be joining the program as well.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep this thing rolling.
Yep.
All right. So Fly had asked, was Torrey Smith, just because Ray Rice had referenced that he knows that Torrey, put a tweet out saying he didn't want to speak to people. Media members had reached out to him and he said he didn't want to do it. Fly here asked us, was Torrey Smith talking about y'all when he said media reaching out? We did not reach out to Torrey Smith. We saw his tweet and we respected what he did. We mostly reached out to guys that we had a pre-existing relationship with, and we kind of already know where they're at. So, as you know, we've had Qadry Ismail on several times. We're able to have conversations with these guys and broach the topic in a way that is comfortable to them. So we already had a relationship with Q. Jimmy Smith will be coming on later. We already had a relationship there. Ray Rice, Bobby's been in touch with him for quite some time. They've chatted nonstop and they text a lot. So the people that we reached out to, it was more that we knew them, had a pre-existing relationship, and certainly those that didn't want to talk to media, we definitely respected that, and just trying to make sure everybody gets to grieve in their own way. Are you back on there, Bobby?
Well, I'll echo that. I'll echo that. My tweet went out, I want to say it was after or right around the same time that Torrey's did, and I just wanted everybody to know in the audience that it was going to be a different Monday for us, and we were going to dedicate our entire stream to this. And being that we've done this in the past, now you may not have been around for prior. We were in a partnership yet when Tony and Jalen passed within 24 hours of each other a couple summers ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the bridge collapsed, I did these types of streams the days after both of those events. And for me, it's therapeutic, but put the selfish side of it aside for a second. I think it's therapeutic for folks that follow us and that love Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And so while we absolutely respect and acknowledge what Torrey's request was, I think, to your point, it doesn't mean that somebody like Ray feels the same way.
Right.
And that's just a part of the grieving process. So I think you said that well.
Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to get back on, when you had the photo up of Jacoby Jones when he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, it showed the Art Modell patch on their chest. Pretty, you could see it really well. Yeah, there it is. So you can see Art. So Druth Bear, thank you for your super chat. And he said, I forgot the team had the Art Modell patch that year when they won in Jacoby's hometown. Now they can win it for Jacoby in his hometown. Yeah. Is it in New Orleans again this year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of symbolic nature to what could take place this year. Will Jacoby have a patch? Will the Ravens be in that game?
Right.
There's a lot of that. As an organization, you better believe their track record. They will make the right decisions when it comes to these sentimental factors.
Who's still on the roster that won that Super Bowl? Like, I know there's coaches
just Justin.
Just Justin Tucker. You've got
Yeah.
Sam Cook obviously on the coaching staff and John Harbaugh, but yeah,
which is crazy to think, right? When Sam retired and Morgan Cox left for Tennessee, there goes two, right within like a couple years of one another. So
yeah.
there's been a lot of as you would expect. I mean, gosh, it's been 11 years. there's going to be that kind of turnover. Let's give Millsy one more shot here.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
Again, super kind of him to be kind of floating around BWI to try and find the right connection. Millsy, you got us?
Yeah, Bobby.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
That's all right. We'll do it another time, my friend.
I'll try another location, but I'm sorry.
We'll do it another time, my friend. I love you. That's my guy right there. He's, man, when I first started at BAL, Sarah, I didn't know jack about the Baltimore sports history and community and just the dynamic.
Yeah.
I leaned on that guy so incredibly heavily. He was so gracious with his time, so patient with me. And I know he had a great relationship with Jacoby. So I just wanted to give him another shot. But hopefully Scott Garceau will join us in a couple minutes. We can also open up the guest lines as well. And Jimmy Smith will be joining us in about just over 20 minutes from right now, another former teammate of Jacoby's.
So we have all that. We could open up the line. I know that I was muffled. I think it might be worth reading again the statement from Jacoby's family. And there's so many like career highlights we haven't gotten to yet, right? We haven't even played the Super Bowl stuff yet. How about the snow game or some of the records he's made? So there's plenty we haven't gotten to yet. But yeah, my sound was messed up when I first started, and that's why I think I heard my own echo. I don't know why you could hear me clearly, but it seemed messed up for me.
Well, once you started reading the statement, I went south too, and I'm like,
you did?
Already read the statement. I'll figure this out.
One other thing before I read the statement, somebody had made the comment in the comment section here that it may have been tough for me during that Mile High Miracle game because people know I grew up in Colorado Springs and I grew up rooting for the Denver Broncos. Let me tell you how easy it is, okay, to move on from a former team that you grew up loving when you're working for that organization. And by the way, you're being paid by that organization. And then you know all the players and all the coaches, and then you're in the locker room and this and that. I promise you, I remember my intern year in 2005, I was still kind of rooting for the Broncos on the side, and probably 3/4 of the way of the season, that had all gone because you make bonds with the current people that you're with. And so that's why I understand players more, when they're traded or in free agency, they go to other teams. You quickly make new relationships. You have new goals. You have this is your life now. Do I still care for the Broncos? Yeah, but I had no divided feelings whatsoever in that Mile High game. In fact, Bobby, when that game happened, I was coming home from the hospital with my third child. And I remember holding her and nursing her, watching the game, trying not to, because you know me, I can get loud during the game, and I'm trying not to freak her out because she's 2 days old, and I'm like, oh, I can't yell too loud. But I was like, oh, this baby's good luck. I couldn't believe that we had that, Super Bowl run as I had her. So anyway,
just talk about though, how a lot of women would maybe be, I don't know, tired or exhausted 2 days after giving birth, and you're pumping your fists in what became the game of the century for this organization.
No, I have no problem whatsoever. I was lucky though. I had easy deliveries and easy pregnancies. I was boom, ready to go.
Yeah. So I love it. Well, in the waiting room right now, we have two Baltimore sports historians, one who probably is going to have a better Wi-Fi than the other, but they both know each other extremely well. That's Scott Garceau and Keith Mills. Keith is in BWI. Scott looks like he's joining us from the comfort of his own home. But Scott, we've been trying to get Millsy on. He's having some Wi-Fi issues, but he's
in the airport, yeah.
Yeah, let's bring in somebody who is an encyclopedia, a textbook, somebody who I admire and have a ton of respect for. I know, Sarah, you feel absolutely similarly. a Baltimore sports icon when it comes to broadcasting, and that is the great Scott Garceau, who joins us live on what is a somber day, Scott. And would love to get your initial reaction to yesterday's news.
Yeah, you're never ready for this. I lose guys that are around my age, some of the former Colts and players like that, and you're never ready for that. But when somebody 40 years old with as much life as Jacoby had, if you're around that personality, it was huge. And I was preparing for the Oriole game yesterday, and somebody came into the booth and said, "Hey, there's something on X that says that Jacoby Jones has died." He said, "Nothing confirmed yet." And then shortly thereafter, we got confirmation that he was gone. And just it's a crusher. It's a crusher. 40 years old. It seemed like it was yesterday. He was running up the sidelines, either the Mile High Miracle or what he did in Super Bowl 47. And such a big part of this community. And then, stayed around here and had a lot of relationships. I'd see him at Oriole games occasionally. He helped out, I think, at Calvert Hall for a while with the football staff over there. He did some coaching at Morgan State. So a guy that was really embedded in the community, as well as being, a great Raven who we'll always remember for those big plays. And maybe that Mile High Miracle. If you had to pick one play in their history since they got here in 1996, that might be it, because what he did in the Super Bowl was terrific. And I had an MVP ballot that year, and he certainly got heavy consideration. But if he doesn't make the play in Denver, they don't get to the Super Bowl. It's over. And it's just kind of a nice year, but not a great year.
Scott, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. It's interesting. Oh, yeah, it's interesting that you point out you were at the Orioles game yesterday. I don't know if you've seen online people making the comparisons with the final play where Mullins hit it, and the outfielder just completely misjudged it, and they were like, that was Jacoby with the callback to the Mile High when the safety completely misjudged it. Have you seen those comparisons?
I did see the side by side, kind of an interesting. Yeah, in Denver, well, the stakes a little bigger, obviously, but this was a huge game. Might be the Orioles' best win of the year and the Yankees' worst loss. Verdugo, I guess, was the safety who came in and then couldn't get back, and the Orioles had a great win. But yeah, some irony there, I guess. But yeah, the Mile High Miracle. I mean, when you take all the circumstances, the time, and Peyton Manning in Denver at home, and up against it, and it looked like there was no chance the Ravens were going to walk out at that point with a win, and Flacco just chucks it downfield, and I think we all were, oh my God, because in football terms, you got to be deeper than the deepest there. If they catch it in front of you, you're probably still going to win the game, but you cannot let anybody get behind you. And there was Jacoby Jones with one of the plays of the century.
Well, what the heck? Why not? Let's relive it. Why not? Because as you know, the play-by-play extraordinaire that you are, this is something that Jerry Sandusky's always going to be able to hold his hat on. We had Qadry on last hour, and we got at him a little bit for speaking up a little bit during that call, didn't he? He let his emotions get to him. Did not lay out, as they say in broadcasting, whatsoever, but that's okay because it made the moment what it became. Here he is, Jerry and Qadry in that call.
Winner advances to the AFC Championship. The loser goes home. From the gun, Denver rushes 3. Flacco steps up, throws deep. Far sideline, Jacoby Jones has it at the 20. Jacoby Jones, touchdown, Raven. No flags on the play, and the miracle is answered.
All right, Scott, be real with me.
I don't remember the symphony being that loud at that point, but I guess they got excited too. Yeah, hey, Bobby, you talked about broadcasting. Something great happens, especially if it's on television. Lay out and just let the people. So hey, that's all good, and that's in journalism 101. But sometimes stuff happens. And you're not playing by the book anymore. You get excited to scream out, and I think that's pretty real because anybody watching that game at home, whether they were a Denver fan or a Baltimore fan or just a football fan, was probably screaming at that point.
Be real with me, though, as a longtime play-by-play guy. In that moment, do you want your moment? Or are all bets off in that moment?
All bets are off. Tom Maddie's probably screaming if I'm doing the game with me, and you know it's a special thing. But it's not my moment; it's Baltimore's moment, right? That was a football moment, because that's a play that NFL films will be rolling that thing 40 years from now, and young kids will be going, "My God, how did that happen?"
Well said.
Scott, what did you think? From the outside looking in, it seemed like that Super Bowl team had a lot of serious characters, from Anquan Boldin to Ray Lewis and Joe Flacco. And then, here's Jacoby, able to kind of maybe keep that locker room light. What did you think Jacoby meant to that team personality-wise, let alone all the plays he made during the postseason run?
Oh, yeah. I think all good teams have some characters like that, because it's a long season. You're together for a long time, from training camp through a Super Bowl. That is a long haul, and a lot of pressure, especially late in the year. You get into December and you're playing big games for playoff position. Then you get in the playoffs, and every game's an elimination game. And it is great to have personalities like that to keep things loose. And that was Jacoby. It wasn't a button he said, hey, maybe the team needs to lighten up. That's who he was. He showed up. He was that guy. I thought John Harbaugh, in some of his comments yesterday after the passing of Jacoby, really summed up the person. He was just a guy that lit up a room, and it wasn't a button he had to push. That's how God made him. That's how he was wired. And you mentioned the personalities on that team. The other background story was, it was Ray's last ride, right? This brilliant career of Ray Lewis that started in 1996 was coming to an end, and Ray wanted to take a run at one more Super Bowl. And there was that story. And Joe Flacco, his playoff, I mean, you go back and look at that playoff run he had that year. I got a call. I was in the Hall of Fame meeting the day before, voting for the Hall of Fame in New Orleans. And I got a call, and I think it was one of the New York writers, maybe it was Glauber, said, hey, that's the league calling you. He recognized the number, because we were in the meeting and voting. So obviously he didn't have the ringer on, but he saw the number. He said, that's the league calling you. So our next break, I called back, and it was somebody from the commissioner's office asking if I would vote for the MVP. And I said, yeah, sure, it'd be an honor. And I think there are less than 10 people that vote for Super Bowl MVP. So around the 5-minute mark, maybe 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, somebody from the league came with the ballot, and I filled it out. And I think the way it worked is, you filled out one for each team. So if San Francisco won, that was my vote, the Ravens. And I went back and forth, because Jacoby had a terrific game, but so had Joe Flacco. And they both had, well, Jacoby had the catch. Joe had the throw when they beat Denver. It wasn't easy, but my vote went to Joe Flacco. But Jacoby Jones was right there, and if he was voted MVP, I wouldn't have said, "Oh my God, how did that happen?" It was not easy. But two guys, if you could have split that trophy up, MVP, those two guys both deserved it.
Do you sometimes, if you feel like it's a tie, do you kind of go with the quarterback? I wouldn't know how to break the tie.
That's the first time I voted. I mean, the quarterback's the most important position in sports.
Yeah.
And generally, if teams are winning a Super Bowl, that guy's usually had a ton to do with it. So, maybe if it's that close, you might go to the quarterback who's led that team for an entire season. But yeah, that was a close call. And then the interesting thing is, they come back with maybe a minute to go and say, would you like to change your vote? Because I think Chuck Howley of the Cowboys, when the Colts beat the Cowboys in Super Bowl V, Chuck Howley, linebacker for the Cowboys on the losing team, was the MVP. I think if they had a chance to revote, he wouldn't have been the MVP. Not that he didn't have a good game, but the Colts won the game late, and you may have gone with the winning team as the most valuable player.
Millsy, can you hear us?
I can, guys. How you doing? You hear me?
I can see him.
Well, how fitting is it that you two join us together simultaneously? This is as good as it gets for Baltimore historians. So, Millsy, thank you first and foremost for running all throughout BWI to find the right connection.
I feel like O.J. Simpson back in the day, right? Hopping through the airport.
I gotta wonder when yesterday.
Maybe he didn't find the right connection.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm looking for the Bronco, the white Bronco's outside waiting for me out there.
Hey, you better be careful. I'm driving a white Bronco these days. You better be careful.
Yeah.
Millsy, somber circumstances to be reuniting on the show with us, but your thoughts on yesterday's news.
Yeah, just to I saw Scott yesterday at the Orioles game. We were talking about it, but just to reiterate what everybody's been saying, Jacoby was one of a kind. And you go back to the time he was here. He was one of those glue guys in the locker room. And Scott and Bobby, I've talked, and Sarah, Buck Showalter used to call guys glue guys. That guys could walk through the clubhouse or the locker room, and everyone in the locker room respected him and loved him. And Jacoby was one of those guys that kept everybody loose. But on game day, as Scott just said, man, he went out and he delivered. Hey, everybody's talking about the mile-high, touchdown catch from Joe, justifiably. But one of the other most famous plays in Ravens history was the kickoff return, guys, on Thanksgiving night, where Mike Tomlin stepped on the field and Jacoby's running by him. And Jacoby had a great line, and after the game, he goes, I thought, Troy Polamalu or Joey Porter would be running after me, not Mike Tomlin down the sideline. but he would make light, and he would turn any kind of negative situation into a positive because of his personality, man. What a great guy.
What do you guys think? Was that on purpose?
If it wasn't on purpose, Sarah, Mike Tomlin's the greatest actor on the planet. I will say this, though. His back was turned. He's looking up at the screen, and not all of a sudden Jacoby was there. So I just think Michael really kind of lost his concentration a little bit as to what's going on. He's like, oh, no, not another Jacoby Jones kickoff return here. What's going on?
Hey, who may have an opinion on this is who's in the waiting room. We might as well bring in as many voices as we can right now. We're overlapping with guests a little bit, so apologies that there's only one mic. But Jimmy Smith probably has an opinion on this, and Jimmy joins the show now. What do you think, Jim?
Hey, how's it going?
Jimmy.
Hey.
You see the Tomlin photo? Was it intentional or no?
I mean, how could that not be intentional? I love Mike Tomlin, but how could that not be intentional? He knew what he was doing. He was looking at the opposite. He didn't look down and see his feet clearly, both feet in the field.
Well, we appreciate all you guys for being here. This is hour 2. We've had Qadry on. We just an incredibly emotional interview with Ray Rice, who gave us just a raw look into how he's feeling today. And so, Jimmy, I think we got to start with that. How you doing today, and how are you processing this news?
I mean, obviously it's been on my mind since it's happened, but I still guess I'm still kind of in shock a little bit, disbelief. People don't know, but Jacoby was my oldest son's godfather. Me and Jacoby were really close. We hung out a lot.
Wow.
He first got there. I was with him. We immediately clicked. We have similar, personalities, kind of. We like to have fun, and I clicked with him immediately. And for the next 2.5 years, me and him, I just kicked it with him and his cousin DC all the time, every day. We did everything together. So it was tough. And like I said, it's just kind of a shock still. Haven't really processed it all the way.
Hey, let me ask a question to Jimmy, guys.
Yeah.
Jimmy, what was it like in practice? Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith, Jacoby, Ed Dixon, Dennis Pitta, Ray out of the backfield. What was it like defending that offense, man? When Mike Caldwell took over and things started really changing.
I mean, obviously, I was kind of young at that point, but in a learning state. But every day, I didn't really go against Anquan too many times. I actually went against Kobe or Torrey, most for their speed and size. Those were my people I like to go against. But, they gave me tough challenges every day. And Jacoby still, after retired, would call and be like, Jimmy, tell him we used to go at it in practice to all his boys and all that. But the offense was great. It was the fact that we can throw bombs and we can run the ball. And that's kind of the reason we got into the Super Bowl in the first place, throwing bombs and be able to run the ball. So,
Guys, I think it's pretty interesting that the Ravens have won 2 Super Bowls, and Devin Hester's a Hall of Famer, maybe the greatest kick returner of all time. But you think of those 2 Super Bowl championship teams, Jacoby Jones and Jermaine Lewis on the first one, 2 of the most dynamic kick returners that the NFL has ever seen. And we can talk about offense and defense, and these teams had some great players on both sides, but special teams helped these teams be champions.
Absolutely.
Hey, Jimmy, question for you. So something I feel like I'm learning throughout this show about Jacoby, because I always knew that he would bring smiles and light to everybody. But I'm learning more and more, especially after listening to Ray Rice and now you saying that you chose him to be your son's godfather. Like, he just seems like, yes, he's a funny guy that can make you laugh, but he clearly is somebody beyond that. Like, what is it in Jacoby that made you trust him to the point to say, yes, you're the man to be the godfather of my son?
At that time, like I said, me and Jacoby became really, really close, and everybody sees Jacoby as a lighthearted, funny, can bring the room together, but you rarely see a serious side, and he has a serious side. And when I was younger, he, if we're out and anything happened, he would be the first to pull me by the collar and be like, "Hey, little bro, you can't do this. Like, this is the way it's done. This is how you got to do things." And he had that serious side. And like I said, we hang out so much, and what people don't see is, like, I would go to his house 9 a.m. He'll be outside in his little condo in the Avalons over there catching 150 footballs first thing in the morning. Like, he had that behind the doors that you didn't see who he was, how he worked, how he dealt with his son, how he dealt with his mom, how he really dealt with everybody. That he has that serious side, but he just taught me a lot in those first few years that I was with him. And the reason he became my son's godfather is because, like I said, we had a big brother type relationship, and he just really helped me out, school me on how to, like, do things, and how to be smart about how to be a pro.
Hey, Millsy, Scott, before we let you guys go, do you have anything else for Jimmy before we go catch up with him?
Yeah, Scott and I, Jimmy, and you may have crossed paths with Benny Thompson when Benny was here with the first Ravens teams in the first couple of years, and probably one of the great characters, right, Scott, in the history of sports was Benny. But Jacoby, was there anyone that you ever played with like Jacoby Jones that could turn it on in a game so quickly, and then even the kickoff return against the Vikings in the snow, he was talking to his mother right before that. How could someone turn it on and off like that?
That's crazy you say that, because there's only a few people that can actually do that. Some people got to train all day. Some people got to do all this stuff. But Jacoby was a person that could flip it on like a light switch and turn it off when he wanted to. So that kind of made him special. But no, I haven't met anybody that was genuinely like Jacoby, who can actually, like you said, turn it on, turn it off, but also just get a locker room the way he gets the locker room, have coaches the way, like, just making people laugh and being there. Like, he's one of one in that world. And that's exactly the reason that you get in the interviews, or people that know Kobe. They don't just have a Kobe story that they're passing by and Kobe said hi, he was nice to me. They're like, they have stories, because Kobe would sit there and he would create a memory with you. So that's what made him so special. And as a teammate, being around him, watching him, just knowing him, and then watching him go out there on a Sunday and turn it on the way he does is like no other. And we're all in awe of what he could do, especially on special teams. He was a monster. So it was like watching him do what he does, and then get out there on Sundays, flip that light switch and turn it on. And then when he's off the field, he's back to normal Jacoby, laughing, having a great time. So yeah, he's one of one in that category.
I'd just like to say condolences to Jimmy, because we lost a guy who had an impact on this city from a sports standpoint. Some of us got to brush against him, but you lost family, Jimmy, when you tell the story about he was that guy in your life that was pretty special. So condolences to you. And even though it was only 40 years, he left an impact in this city and maybe around the league, because he touched a lot of other people too, but he's not going to be forgotten. So he did in 40 what a lot of people can't do in their lives in 80 years. So I think we can hang on to that today.
Yeah. One last thing for me, guys, and you may have heard this story, Jimmy. You might even been down there. I don't know. Ocean City, one of the Ravens Roost conventions. It was about 10 years ago after he was done playing. He got lost. They couldn't. The security guys couldn't find him, and there was not a lot of panic, but there was a little concern.
Well, he shows up when you hit the ocean, Keith.
He shows up a couple hours later. Bobby, you actually may have been with us at that time. And somebody said, "Where'd you go?" He goes, some guy came up to me and asked if I want to go on a boat ride out on the bay. I said, "Yeah, I'll go on a boat ride." He just gets on this total stranger's boat, goes up the Assawoman Bay for about an hour and a half, comes back like, "Hey, nothing happened. What's all the worry?"
Yeah, we took. I actually met up with Jacoby one year. Me and my dad met up with Jacoby in Ocean City, and yeah, Jacoby and my dad ended up taking off somewhere, and they come back later on in the day, and they have this video of them actually Jacoby chasing horses. The
That's a Teague Island.
His
That's
trail,
a Teague
his name is
Island.
Donna. So he took my dad out. They went on a boat somewhere, end up going somewhere out there, and they end up chasing horses.
Yeah.
Come back later. They have a keychain of this, like legit keychain. And some random kids walk up to me and is like, "Yo, is this your dad?" And it's him and my dad. It's Jacoby, my dad, and these kids taking a picture after they just got done chasing horses.
He was the
Got
best.
a lot of memories. Yeah,
He was the best.
All right,
Scott,
guys.
Millsy,
Great seeing you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your
Pleasure.
perspectives, guys. Millsy, safe
Thank
travel
you.
down to Florida.
You got it.
And Scott,
Sarah,
great seeing you
to hear
again.
back on the O's
All right,
games.
Keith.
See you guys.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Thank you, guys.
Good seeing you again, buddy.
You too, man. Yes, take care.
Scotty, see you next week, Scott.
All right. See you soon.
All right, see you guys. Two of Baltimore's greatest historians there. Didn't mean to do some overlap there, Jimmy, but yeah, man, we just wanted to check in on you and see how you're doing.
I'm doing all right, man. Like I said, it's one of the things for me is like processing. This is the closest person to me that's ever died. So it's like I said, just a shock still. Like my feelings haven't even processed. I kind of like am in disbelief a little bit still, but obviously constantly just on my mind right now. I want to post some of all of our videos and online, but I just don't want to put that out there, you know.
Yeah.
That time yet. Hey, Jimmy, if you're comfortable, just because, you know, I think, you know, it could be like learning moments or whatnot. Your son, how old is he now?
He just turned 10 yesterday, actually, so, which is crazy.
Is
So
it like, if you don't mind sharing, like how are you as a father trying to like help him process that, because that is his godfather?
He's young and he didn't have like a lot of one-on-one contact with Jacoby.
Yeah.
After Jacoby started coaching and all that, but you know, he talked to him and all that. He knows him. He doesn't really know how to process. He's like sad, like wow, like you know, really shocked that it happened. But we talked for about an hour or like 30 minutes yesterday, and then I haven't spoken to him again. But I'm sure he'll call today, and it'll probably set in a little bit more.
Yeah. And you yourself, was it social media?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, immediately I just started getting videos from people that used to hang around me and Kobe, and they sent all these videos of us just together, wilding out. And I have our other videos. We're just having a good time, and you know, they hit and they just, you know, they tear you up, make you cry. It's just kind of surreal. You know, I actually had Callum Robinson. I don't mean to change it, but Callum Robinson was also my friend that was murdered in Mexico. So in the last few months, it's like boom, boom. These things happen quickly, and it's kind of difficult to process. It took me a minute to process Callum, but this is somebody that's family. Like this is close, and it just feels way completely different. You know, like it's hard to fathom what Miss Emily's going through. Little Kobe, you know, understanding what just took place for little Kobe it's huge. So.
And on like a different layer of that, I think Baltimore feels similarly to you, right? Not the same, but similarly. And I guess I'll ask you the same question that I asked Ray about an hour ago, and that was, okay, you win a Super Bowl title in this city that, like Baltimore, and you're going to become a forever legend, especially when you have the game that he had. But then you go and sign that one-day contract. You retire a Raven. You had several other stops along your NFL journey. What was it that attracted Jacoby to Baltimore aside from the winning?
His personality fit our locker room immediately. Immediately. He's a guy who works hard. He knows how to lead. He's funny and all that, but he's a leader. He'll really get you right for the games. And if I'm in the game, he's like coaching me, like he's a corner coach or something, but like he's that guy. Like he really has both sides of that. That's, like I said, that's what makes him special. But Jacoby, he was a difference maker on and off the field. Like he really could lighten up the mood. He always come in with something to talk about, you know, but he's not all like laughs and giggles all the time. And that's the side that people don't obviously always see. But when I tell you, he was that guy that can flip the switch, like I said, and then be both sides. I was like, just like I said, one of a kind guy. You know, you get a Ray Lewis in the locker room, but you also get a Jacoby Jones.
What is your favorite memory? Like, you think of him, I'm sure you've been thinking about this over the last 24 hours or so. Like, it's like, this is the memory that will forever be etched in my mind.
Many. But this one is just a story. I went out to Houston to visit him, and it was obviously off season, so I went out, stayed at his house. We went out probably like 10 o'clock to go get some food and, you know, go celebrate, go have a shot. We get into the bar. The bar is completely empty. Right. And this is a kind of wild, jam-packed day. We're sitting outside because the owner of the bar knew Jacoby personally. We're sitting outside, and this is really a high-speed chase comes through the parking lot. So me and Jacoby are already tripping out, like, whoa, like tripping out. Then after, literally, as soon as the high-speed passes, a big limousine comes, and it's full of people that just went out a wedding, like a small wedding. They come into the bar. Jacoby and me just talking to him. We end up leaving within 30 minutes, go back to these people's houses, and swam and partied with them all night long. And they sent videos yesterday of it, and I have the videos of it. But yeah, like that's who Jacoby is. Like we meet people, random people, and then we go to their house, and now we have that group of people knows Jacoby from that moment. They knew football, but they knew us after that moment, and it was one of the best memories because it was just a random day, and that's our personality. We like to go have fun, and we went out and have fun and just kind of had this wonderful, like, just random party day with these. And it was an older couple that got married. They're like 50 something. So it was a whole bunch of older people. It wasn't like our age. And we just had like a real like party with them. And they sent the videos. And and that's like actually the last video that Jacoby sent me was us at their house partying. So, I mean, I got to obviously saved, but just we had a lot of those type of moments. Like I said, me and Jacoby hung out a lot outside of football, so we have a lot of just us hanging out memories.
That reminds me of what Ray Rice said about him. And he was like, there's some people that just like don't know how to live. They were like, Jacoby knows how to live. And the word I used was like a hunger for life. Then Ray said, yeah, not only a hunger of life, but a hunger for people. And it like so many people will walk into a room and they're shy and they're trying to like, this is more me. I like to get the lay of the land and kind of get to know people. Not Jacoby. Like what you just said, like going off with these 50-year-olds and having a pool day. Like, it's just like everybody was cool to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's his personality. He's a social butterfly, legitimately. We used to sit in Collins all the time, Collins Seafood back in the day we had our jerseys, both our jerseys on the wall right next to each other. And we used to hang out there all the time. And he knew everybody in the building. Like everybody knew who Jacoby was. Whether they knew football or not, they knew him just by him speaking to him, you know, buying their food, just whatever. Like he was just that type of guy. He's just electric like that.
If you're a Baltimore person and you go check out his Instagram, look at the mutual friends that you have with him. Because if you've been in town for a long time, I guarantee you're going to have a mutual friend that has nothing to do with football. It's just a lifelong Baltimorean, to your point, Jimmy, that somehow he's met along the way. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing the same. Like just yesterday, I went and checked. I'm like, how does he know so-and-so? How did he know so, you know, and on and on and on. And I think that sometimes that's lost when you're a public figure, the way he was, the way that you are, the way that all professional athletes are, right? There's like this degree of separation between you and other humans. For him, that didn't even exist in his world. And I think that's what makes him so relatable. And you have similar qualities to you as well.
He's very personable. Like him and my dad, people that do know my dad. My dad and Jacoby are very similar. They get along so well. He calls my dad Pops. Like they get along extremely well. So, you know, it's crazy because I called my dad and he was extremely hurt. Like that was his son, Jim. So, like I said, just a shock. Just crazy that, you know, it happens. But he was one of those guys that anybody in the world, he would stop and take 5 minutes to talk to. If we're walking somewhere, going somewhere, and fans come up, he's just not signing and walking off. He's like having a conversation, cracking a joke. He's just making everybody feel good. And obviously it rubs off on people when you hang around him. And like you said, we have somewhat similar personalities in that manner. But I think that's why our relationship became so tight. Is like, he called it like, little bro, let's go. We're going to do this. And we would go out and have fun and just everybody around us would know the circle. Everybody would know Jacoby was there. Everybody would crack jokes. We would go eat. We'd have a good time, and everything was just like it's a memory more than just, I passed by Jacoby and I seen him. He took a picture. Like if you seen Jacoby, you got something to say. He said something. He cracked a joke. He has that down south, them sayings, those phrases. They always saying something down south, and he touched a lot of people. He really, really was warm like that. He really could really speak to you. He could really help you figure some stuff out, like mentally. And he really had like I said, the other side of what helped him become a professional, how the dedication, the hard work, the leadership, the motivation. Like he was that still, like he was all of that, but he wrapped it all in this like goofy, funny, like warm personality.
It's so selfless too, whether it was Calvert Hall or Morgan State, or wasn't he about to be the head coach of the Renegades? I mean, yeah. Do you remember anything in particular about either the last moment or conversation that you shared with him, and how long ago was that?
The last conversation, well, we talked last in May, like full-on conversation, but and that was just picking out what day he's about to come to a game this year. But 2 days ago, we obviously told him happy birthday on his birthday, but I told you before, we have a Super Bowl group chat, and nice. He was in the group chat telling us, Thursday, that he was about to be enshrined into the Lane University Hall of Fame. He sent the picture and all that. Then the next day was his birthday. We all gave him shout outs for his birthday. He told me we'll link up, and then we got the text message the next day. So it's pretty like, and he was in good spirits as far as we know. He's texted the thread a lot. So, he's always cracking jokes in the thread still, even to this day. So it was, even to that day, but, it happens quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of jolting to go from that news to completely different news. It's just jolting. You talk about like the Super Bowl chat that you guys have. You probably
Which guys are in it? Sorry to interrupt, Sarah.
No, you're good.
Pretty much it's like 30 something, like 25 guys.
Really?
The people that talk a lot is like Ed, Shockey, Hedabo. I comment every now and then. Art Jones. Some other numbers in there that I don't really got to say.
Ed's the most vocal.
Ed was definitely in there. He's definitely speaking. He's sending videos of us our reunion. I'm sure Ed's extremely affected by this. Like that was.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is just touched by this. Obviously, everybody in that group knows Jacoby, loves Jacoby. So and like you said, like honestly, just talking to somebody, just hey, congrats. We'll see you, we'll see you soon. And then boom, the next day something happens and it's like, whoa, like here today, going tomorrow is kind of just a shocking thing. You know what I mean? So for everybody to be like just talking to him on Thursday and tell him happy birthday, and to go into 2 days later, we find out he's just not waking up. And it was difficult. But the group chat's people have been just posting pictures in the group chat and videos of Kobe, and honestly, it's kind of hard to watch him because you tear up so quickly when you see him. But yeah, everybody's extremely affected by it.
That's what I was going to ask, like with the Super Bowl chat and all you guys all have these special memories with him. Is that something that like Ray Rice talked about how you guys just need to lean on each other? Because like you said, everybody's impacted. And so it's still early, obviously, and I know that plans are still coming together. Is that a group that you hope to lean into, that you guys can all kind of support each other?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. You know how guys are, though. We probably keep to ourselves a little bit, but we know there's help there if you need to talk and speak, but everybody processes grief differently. So
yeah.
But it's been out there. Obviously, Ed is like, hey, if anybody needs you, come out Georgia, and I'm there for you guys. Like everybody's there for each other. But like I said, guys are guys, and we're all football players, so we're probably gonna process it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make you emotional, but in April during draft weekend, did we have you on during that weekend?
Yeah, we had him for a long time. Remember, he stayed with us till the pick. Yeah,
couldn't remember if it was that or schedule release. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, you were with us for the pick.
Yeah.
So, sorry, there's been a lot going on the last few months. But Jimmy, prior to that, it was either that night. Yeah, I think maybe it was night 2. Whatever. Jacoby was late to his interview with us, right? So it ends up being an overlap of him, Marlon, and me and Sarah with one mic, right? And so it ends up being this kind of hilarious conversation, but it was really awesome. And I think it ended up being one of the last interviews that he would ever be a part of. And I just wanted to play this snippet for you on Joe Flacco. And Sarah asked him a question just about his time in Cleveland, how he felt about that, given the whole Baltimore in-division thing, right? And this is what he had to say.
I like to see Joe do good because he's a hell of a quarterback to me. That's my quarterback, man. Like, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to play with Lamar. But Joe, my quarterback, bro. And I wanted him to see do good. But if he'd had to face the Ravens, it'd have been a different story. But I just wanted to see him do good.
It just kind of hits different now, right? Like, I just wanted to see him do good. In the moment, I'm watching it back yesterday, and I'm like, in the moment, I kind of remember being like, oh, of course he's going to say that. But then I'm watching it, I'm listening to it in the car ride yesterday, and I'm like, it's just incredibly caring. I just want to see him do good. That's my quarterback, an undying loyalty.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. He's definitely loyal to all the people that are his real friends. That's one of his greatest qualities. He's gonna be there for you no matter what. He ain't gonna forget to call when he say he gonna call. He ain't gonna forget none of that. So that was definitely one of his stronger traits.
The group chat had pointed out we had shown some pictures of him running in the touchdown on the return in the Super Bowl, and he had an art patch. I am starting the what's the word? I'm starting a movement. I need the JJ patch, Jacoby patch in 2024 as the Super Bowl year ends in New Orleans yet again.
Get the 12 patch, yeah.
Right? There's something kind of
he has to be honored, man. He has to be honored for us. He's a different Raven, a very special Raven, and we don't win a Super Bowl without him.
What do you think it meant to him to win the Super Bowl in his hometown of New Orleans?
I know exactly. It was everything. It's no diss towards Joe Flacco, but everybody we thought he was the MVP. He's going to get MVP. That he killed it that game. But to go and have a game like that and set an NFL record that it might get touched. I don't know if it's going to ever get touched. To go in there and have that type of MVP game in his hometown, and then go right out afterwards in your hometown, like he felt like a king, and that's how he should have felt.
But yet, zero animosity towards Joe.
Zero. Like he didn't need it. Why he went to Dancing with the Stars after that? He did all kinds of stuff. Like his stardom took off after that. Like
right.
And then he deserved it.
Look at him.
Did you ever go watch him in that?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I watched his little pigeon toe. Yeah, I watched him. Out there giggling.
How much did he enjoy that?
He loved it. He talked about it all the time. But he just, that was like a different level of stardom for him. And he didn't even realize. But he gained a whole lot of new fans after that.
I'm sure. He's got the same face in both of these shots, too. Mouth open. Looking like he's running back a touchdown.
The videos that were sent to me is just us dancing around. Like he dances all the time.
Oh man,
not Chris Brown level, but like he dances a lot. Like he's always doing this little stuff. But yeah.
But maybe in his mind it is Chris Brown level, because Ray was like, oh, even to this day, if he's asked who's the fastest in the NFL, it's me. Who's got the best hands in the NFL? It's me. So maybe he would tell you that he's Chris Brown level.
I used to make fun of Jacoby. You ever seen that Burger King commercial when he had that big old Whopper? And he's like, how am I eat these with these little hands? Jacoby had the smallest hands I've ever seen. Ever.
Oh, really?
I used to tease him all the time because I used to tease him. I called him a body catcher all the time. And we'd talk. That's how we used to get into it at practice. Not like real get into it, but like we chirp at each other. And I said, like, you can't catch with your hands. Like, it's all body catching. And we just go. I used to always tease him, like, you have these little Burger King hands.
Now that I think about it, that Mile High Miracle was a body catch, and so was that catch from Joe. Both of those were body catches.
I don't know. That's true. He does have the smallest hands.
Take a look at those things, Jim.
I've never noticed that before.
But he catches it with his body really well.
Let's see yours.
He hit that one miser.
Let's see if we can do a little cross comparison here. Leave him up on the screen. I can't tell.
Yeah, I don't see nothing.
Oh, that one. That's now you're just spreading it out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the size of it.
That's an NFL cornerback.
I mean, you could probably Google that, and his hands will probably come like 8 inches or something.
Love that shot.
But one thing is this: you ain't touching Kobe's speed. His speed, his size, like he's a big dude that can run, that can really run.
Yeah.
And that's so hard thing to cover.
When you go up in practice, it's just get hands on him to try to slow him down. Is that the strategy?
And he would never let me. He would never let me touch him, and he would always talk about it because we would, like I said, we always went against each other.
Yeah.
And he knew that I just wanted to jam him. When the first time I played him, my rookie season, he was at the Texas. I studied all his film. I'm like, man, this dude is tall and he's fast. Like, and in the game, he just ran around my jam and just would blaze down the sideline. I'm like, whoa, this guy really can run. And the next year, he's my teammate, and it was fun to go against that type of size and speed because I really didn't get that yet. So having him every day, and the way that he could run, pushed me at practice. Him and Toy really pushed me at practice in that regard. But yeah, me and him will go after because he's a hooper, big time. He loves to hoop. I would go to his camps, not his camps, but his camps and his like charity event in New Orleans, and it was a basketball game in there. Like he really get after it with these college kids, so he could really jump too. Like he's an athlete. He's a true athlete.
Was he still playing pickup up until his passing?
I'm sure. You know, with the coaching, moving around, doing this stuff, I don't know the side activities he really had too much more of, but I know he was really into his coaching, moving around and taking care of little Kobe. That was like his main focus.
Now I see you've got we'll let you go here soon. You've got the Ravens birdie logo, and you're training today.
Every day.
Anything?
Come back now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have the Tony bug?
No, Tony is what, 3 years younger than me? I don't got the Tony, and my position is a little bit difficult to come back at 36. I'm 36 in 2 weeks, so
36.
Happens
happy
fast.
early birthday.
When's your birthday?
Thank you. July 26th.
Oh, I'm the 27th. I knew I
You're
liked
27th.
I knew I liked you. A couple Leo boys.
I'll be out there on the 27th.
Wait a minute, Bobby's got a huge what are you calling it? A huge bash going on.
Jimmy, this is just any birthday. This is 30.
30.
Yeah, that's right. And you know what?
I'll be flying out to Philly that same day to go to the lake house, but I would stop by if I could.
Okay.
Well, hey, listen, I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I'm not invited. This isn't a party for me.
I don't think Sarah would want to be anywhere near what's about to take
30 is important.
Jimmy, just throwing it out there. July 25th through the 28th, I'll have a 16-person, 3-story beach house in West Ocean City, and a bunch of my guys are coming. So if you happen to have a redirect, you're welcome. You'll be welcome.
Let me talk to the wife and see what she says.
Yeah.
She'll be like, wait a second, wasn't that the guy that you were on his stream sauce for one of those pregame shows? Yeah, you didn't get back with him.
Maybe just bring her. All right.
Oh man. Well, we just wanted to check in with you. We appreciate you carving out some time. I hope it was we want to be careful when you reach out to people. I don't want to come across as if it's something that we're looking for or whatever. We just want to give you an opportunity to. Yeah.
It's not clickbait. This is Jacoby meant a lot to Baltimore. I mean, he played there for 2 years and is probably more memorable than a lot of guys that have played there for much longer. So
it's true. What
he means to the city, what he means to all of us individually and who he was. You hear the stories, you see random, like I turn on my Facebook and I see I didn't even realize that I follow that many people from Baltimore, but like my whole timeline is just pictures of Kobe, videos, and just people that admired him, and the outpouring of love. Like, the thing that's really messed up when you pass and you're that loved is obviously you don't see it. You don't know. I know he knew he was loved, but I wish he could see the amount of love that he actually is. That the how many people care for him that stretch way further than he thinks, and how many people he's brought into my life from his family, and how many people I brought to his life, and them reaching out and knowing like, dang, Jimmy, like, are you good? And them reaching out like, are you guys okay? Like, like it means a lot. because of how close people are to him. And I'm not the only one that's close to him like this. Like, you know, he has many friends that are in his inner circle that are this close and all have this feeling and all have stories, and people that he's known way longer than me, you know, to have these stories. And I know how they feel. I'm sure, you know, at the funeral, it might be the biggest funeral of all time, just because of the outlet pouring and people, you know, everybody's going to show up for that to pay his respects to Jacoby.
Yeah. Well,
he can't see it, but I hope his son and his mom do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Miss Emily, she's the best. Raised Jacoby right, and little Kobe will be in great hands with his mom. But he lost, you know, losing a father is extremely difficult, and it's hard to get over. I can't imagine what little Kobe's going to go through for the next few years. For the rest of his life, but really, these next several years is going to be critical for him.
Yeah. Well, we'll be keeping them in our prayers, and we'll be checking in with you as well. And we appreciate your perspective, Jimmy. Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you
Thanks,
guys.
Jimmy.
Absolutely. You know it.
All
Thanks.
right.
Appreciate you. Whew.
As the live chat said earlier on, this was one of our heavier live streams.
Yeah.
A heavy day, a heavy 48 hours for Baltimore. You have people like Monica who have shed tears listening to this live stream. I'm sure it's been a wave of different emotions, a roller coaster over the last couple hours and since Jacoby's news came down. But what we really wanted to do over the last 2 hours, and we hope we did something like this, was give all of you an opportunity to celebrate Jacoby's life and legacy with us and hear from those who, my gosh, in Jimmy and Ray's case, were extremely close with him. And there were a lot of those people, as Jimmy just said, in Jacoby's life, which gives you a really good sense for what his values were and just how much of a people person he was. So
when he said like he wished that Jacoby could have seen it, you know, this is why people say when like people pass, it's like, tell people how you feel, tell them while they can, you know, absorb it and appreciate it. So I'm wondering if we should, because we haven't played it yet. Can you believe it? We're nearing the end of 2 hours. Maybe we can end on the note. We have not played the calls of his Super Bowl catch and then a Super Bowl return. I feel like that would be a good way to end this too. As Ray talked about that dash, right? I think Jacoby Jones was born in like 83 or 84. So you have the 84 to the 2024, and he's like, the dash is where the legacy is.
July 84. And he just turned 40 on the 11th. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll finish with this, with these two calls, just so we can remember, you know, what his legacy is as a football player to the Ravens. So here's first his touchdown catch, because that came first in the game.
Flacco in the shotgun. Takes the snap.
I took off running so fast.
Steps up in the pocket. Throwing deep. He's got Jacoby Jones open at the 10.
And I see dude jumped over. And I said, oh, he tripping. You got another hitter coming trying to get me. No, y'all hit too hard back here. Dead leg and spin.
Spins out of one tackle.
I looked at him, gave him that trapped me.
Touchdown, Ravens! Jacoby Jones, Mr. Long Distance, has struck again. Woohoo!
I love that they voiced over him kind of explaining it. He's like, oh, you know, I just gave him the little and he spins out. Like I wish that we could have shown the whole video, but it's just like, it really is incredible. Like the fact, like he had to wait on that throw. Now Joe was under some pressure, right? Joe was under pressure. And so he just had to like chuck that thing, and he probably got too much air on it. Which lets you know yet again how far off these defensive backs are on Jacoby. Like it happened a few times. So he's waiting, and he had to come back for the ball, falls down, and has the wherewithal to be like, whoop, pop him back up, does a little spin move, and is in his words, give him the little, you know, and then dives his way into that. Like Bobby, I was in.
Look at the sideline here.
Look at this. Look at the sideline. They're like, is he in? So where my seats were, by the way, so me and my husband were there in this end zone. We were so lucky because our seats were lower bowl, and we were in the end zone that he was scoring in. And we got that twice, by the way. We got him coming to us for the kickoff return, and we got it for this touchdown. And so just to see him fall and then get back up and then running our way, like we're just like losing our minds. And I remember because a lot of the employees at the Ravens were seated in the same place. And I remember looking up at one of my coworkers, and I was just like the Michael Jordan look, like I can't believe this is happening, because they got off at such a big lead. And then obviously we got to listen to the call for his kickoff return, which, by the way, before it happened, John Harbaugh calls. He goes, "You watch." He goes, "This could go all the way up the middle." So these guys know what they're doing. Here we go.
Akers kickoff to start the second half. Fielded by Jacoby Jones, 8 yards deep.
It's my Joe right in the middle.
10, 15, 20, send the tackle, 30.
When the dude dove and hit my leg and he missed, it says over.
Hey, Mike!
I looked at the Jumbotron, I was like, slow down, 26, you ain't gonna catch me.
He will go all the way. Jacoby Jones, 108 yards.
I do what God told me to do. You saw when I went and touched him. I touched him.
I'm like, yeah, you did, Ray. I think God had that plan for me already.
Yeah, you did touch me, Ray, but I think God had that plan for me anyway. And that's why I wanted to end with that. It's what Ray Rice said. If you're a person of faith, which all the Jacoby was, Ray Lewis was, Ray Rice is, hopefully that's what propels you through to be able to move through, because Jacoby Jones said it right there. Yeah, Ray, you did touch me. Because remember, Ray was telling everybody that he touched him beforehand, and he wanted to let him know, like, this is your moment, because Ray was feeling that. He's like, yeah, you did touch me, but God had that plan for me all the way through. Yeah. And so I hope that brings some sort of peace or comfort to Jacoby's family and his friends and all the former teammates and all those guys, that it's God has a plan. He has a plan. And when Ray Rice was talking about how Jacoby knew how to live life, there's like, for some, because of the way Jacoby lived, he did more in 40 years than what some people could do in 80. Yeah. Right? Because he had that hunger that Ray Rice was talking about. He wanted to meet people. He wanted to lift people up. And so, like, I just didn't know the other side that the other guys have been talking about. Yes, he lifted you up with his laughter and his smile and his joy, but he also lifted Ray Rice up when he came to him and said, "I'm not abandoning you in the worst hour of your life." The worst hour of your life. Where everybody else is saying, drop that guy, drop that bum, leave him, and you can understand where those people were coming from. I know Ray Rice understood it at the time, but it's almost when, like, everybody else is turning your back on their friend, that Jacoby's like, I'm not going to be them. And if I get dragged down with you, then so be it. Because I'm going to be there for you at the lowest part of your life. And the same with Jimmy, the way he talked about that story. He was talking about, like, what did he say? It was a hit and run. What was it? Like,
there was a high-speed car chase outside the club that they got into, or a bar scene. And then, sure enough, a whole wedding party comes in right after. And next thing you know, it's a late-night rendezvous, like, shut it down type party that they go back and hang with this entire wedding crew that was probably 20 years older than him at the time.
Like, it's unreal. So when I say that when Ray Rice says that he knew how to live, he did that for 40 years. And then when he was in the room with you, he made you want to live. He made you want to do all that. And so, yes, I'm 100% with Jacoby. Those final words, God has a plan. Those 40 years, he still has a plan for his son. He has a plan for his mother. And I pray for them, and I, do whatever I can to help them move forward with peace and almost, in a way, happiness, to celebrate his life. I mean, obviously they're going to mourn, and they're going to go through a massive grieving process. Jimmy Smith said it best, that his son is, especially the next couple of years, I mean, He's going to be going through it. So I pray for him. I pray for the plan that God has for him. And I'm sure Jacoby will be looking down on him for the rest of his life. So, man, just my best wishes to his family and friends. And hopefully, all you can do is try to live a little bit more like Jacoby, right? Try to live a little bit more. Reach out to those that are down. Reach out to those that that seem like they need a smile, and be that light and be that joy, and make that your goal. Make that your goal instead of this is easier said than done, but maybe eventually work towards turning that grief and that depression into something that Jacoby would do, which is to bring light to somebody's life and make their day. And then to me today, that's what I want to do, right? Or the day of his funeral, or yesterday, what I want to do is I want to embody Jacoby Jones for a day and try to bring light and love to somebody else's life for that moment.
I echo all of that. And CJ Mosley weighed in with this. Took a minute for yesterday's news about Jacoby's death to hit. Can't believe you got me shedding a tear, because you were one of the funniest guys to be around with your deep Nolans accent. The day of your birthday, they were playing Super Bowl 47, and my son was locked in watching the game. I'm happy he got to see you ball out again. I always try to check on my OGs from time to time. I'm sorry I didn't reach out since we last spoke in 2014. You never know what a quick text or an old memory can do for you or that person. So whatever profession you're in, take a minute to check on the people that helped you along the way, because we are teammates forever. I hope Junior and your family are doing okay, and hope they feel the love from your legacy that you left on and off the field. And I spoke with CJ's representative over text today to see if he wanted to come on. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it schedule-wise, but he wanted me to read this right here from CJ to Jacoby Jones. And there were many, many others across social media, including Lamar Jackson, who just couldn't believe it, with a broken heart emoji. Nah, brah, no way. RIP legend. Matt Leinart, my former teammate Jacoby Jones, passed. Damn, this hits hard. His laugh and just bigger than life personality will be something I'll always remember. RIP, brother. And the great J.J. Watt. Jacoby was one of the most fun-loving teammates. Remember, they spent time in Houston together, and people I've ever been around. Always dancing and laughing with a permanent smile on his face. Gone far, far too soon. Rest in peace, Jacoby Jones. And that, Sarah, I think just about covers what we hope to do thoroughly over the last couple hours. And we wanted to just say thank you to all who popped on to help us celebrate Jacoby. We wanted to say thank you to Qadry Ismail, Ray Rice, Jimmy Smith, the great Keith Mills, and Scott Garceau when it comes to Baltimore historians and broadcasting. And thank you, partner, for being open to the idea.
No, thank you. I mean, everybody knows that you do the booking for our show, and to put this together in 24 hours, the people that you were able to invite on today, and to do it under tough circumstances, because you never want to put somebody in a position that they don't want to do. And I know that you've had pre-existing relationships with all these guys, and so you knew how to tread water and know how to reach out to them. But the fact that you got all 5 of those guys in less than 24 hours. And by the way, I also think it speaks to the respect they have for you, that they, they trust you, and they'll say yes to you when you reach out for a moment like this. And that Jimmy said in the middle there that he knew what we were trying to accomplish. And I think by you cultivating those relationships over the years, they knew what you were doing. They knew that we were here to honor and to celebrate Jacoby Jones, and the work that you've put in over the last 24 hours is a lot. And so I appreciate it. And I've seen a lot of people say they appreciate the show, and I think that all goes to you.
Well, thank you. It's something that you want to just handle carefully, as we discussed going into it, what the strategy was behind it, and hopefully that was felt. Because others, like Tori, made it very clear on social media that they need time, and we were willing, obviously, to respect that. So when the time's right, maybe we speak with those guys down the road. And we obviously wish Tori Smith and everybody else who is mourning and grieving and coping with what is now reality the best moving forward. So Appreciate you, partner, as always. Thanks to all of you. No sponsor, no calls to action. This is all about Jacoby Jones. And thank you to those who donated to this live stream. Alex Williams was thinking of the Mile High Miracle. It just makes his eyes sweat.
Mm-hmm.
His young daughters and him ran around our house acting crazy. They were praying before the play. Q, our first guest, former Super Bowl winning Raven, checked in and gave a donation for Jacoby. Love you and miss you, my friend. The memory of you and the stories will never fade away. Truth Bearer, as we displayed earlier on, forgot that the team had the Art Modell patch, which was really, really special. And then I just wanted to throw this in here as well. Paul from X says that he took his brother-in-law to a restaurant to celebrate his military retirement. The location was a spot frequented by the players, but we didn't anticipate anyone showing up. Jacoby arrived along with 2 other players. He was so accommodating and friendly to my brother, and I thought that would be a great spot to...
One of hundreds of stories just like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where he makes memories. Yep.
All right, guys. Well, we'll be back in under 22 hours from right now for a Tuesday Ravens lunch hour live stream. Lamar Jackson has reported to camp early, so that's exciting.
I think quarterbacks report with rookies. It's quarterbacks, rookies, and then injured players. All come the week earlier from vets. Yeah.
Okay. So veterans will be on the 20th, which is coming up next Saturday. Coming Saturday. So anything that takes place between now and tomorrow, you can bet that we will be all over it. And again, Sarah and I, genuinely just wanted to say thank you for all of you for dropping by, and we will catch up with you.